Hi, in this video we are going to find the square root of any number which is less than 10,000, and we are going to find this by guess method. So let's try to understand few important things that is required for this method. So here I have given the table of square of numbers starting from 1 to 20. So suppose if we know them already, then we don't have to use this method. That is, for example, if you know the square root of 289 and this is 17. If you know this already, then we don't need to use this method. And likewise, if you know the square root of 225, which is 15, if you know this already, then we will not have to use this method. But what if we don't know this, don't know the square root of these numbers? Then we can definitely use this method. And for that, we should be knowing at least the square of the first 10 numbers. That is, we should know the square of 1 square, which is 1, and also the square of 2, which is 2 squared is 4. And likewise, we should be knowing at least till 10 squared. That is, 10 squared is 100. And so once we know this, it becomes easy to follow this method. That is, we can find the square root of numbers which are greater than 100 and less than 10,000. And there is also one important thing that we should be knowing, that is how the square of a number ends. If you look at the table, we see that the square of 1, which is 1, which means this ends with 1. The square of 2 ends with the digit 4. And likewise, the square of 4 ends with 16. And then the square of 8 ends with 64. That is, it ends with the digit 4. So here I have given the list of those numbers which ends with the particular digit. For example, if you look at this 0, this will always end with 0. And then the numbers 1 and 9, the squaring those numbers which end with 1 or 9, they will end with 1. For example, if you take a number 49 and if you square it and the last digit is going to end with 1. And similarly, if you take any number which ends with 2 or 8, and its square is going to end with 4. For example, if we take like 38, its square is going to end with 4, which means if we know this, then we can also easily find the square root of number which ends with this kind of number digits. So we should be knowing this uh, table also. So that is how the square of 3 and 7 ends with 9, and then the square of numbers ending with 4 or 6 ends with 6. And likewise, the square of any number which ends with 5, they will end with 5. So this is also important. We will now see how this method works by following these 6 steps. So let's understand each of the steps one by one with some example numbers. So I'm going to consider two numbers, that is 529 and 2025, to understand these 6 steps. So in the first step, we have to decide whether the given number that we are going to find the square root, it is an even or odd digit number. So if you look at this number 529, this has 3 digits, which means it is odd. And if you look at this number 2025, this has 4 digits, so it is an even digit number. So once we have decided whether it is an even or odd digit number, we will be doing either the second step or the third step. So to understand both the steps, here I'll be doing both the steps. So because we have these two numbers. So in the second step, if it is an odd digit number, we need to place a bar on the leftmost one digit. So for that, I consider this 529. So the leftmost digit is 5. So I need to place a bar on top of 5 and then a bar on two digits consecutively. So suppose if it is the number 2025, which is a even digit number. So according to the step 3, we need to place one bar. on the leftmost two digits. So here the leftmost two digits is 2 and 0, that is 20. So I have to place a bar on 20 and then the bars on the next two digits 25. So now we are done with the second and third step. Remember that for the number that we are going to find the square root, we will be doing either the second or third step and not both. Okay. So now let's do the fourth step. Here we know that we are going to find the square root of numbers that are less than 10,000. So our square root number is going to be only a two-digit number, which means our answer number is going to be a two-digit number. So let's represent it like this. And in the fifth step, we are going to find the first digit of our number. And for that, we are going to consider the bar representation of the number that we done in step 2 or step 3. So let's consider the bar representation number, that is 529 with a bar on top of it. So here we have to consider only the first bar number, which is 5, and then we have to identify a number whose square is less than or equal to 5. So clearly it's going to be 2 because 2 square is 4 and that is less than or equal to 5. So therefore in our answer the first digit is going to be 2. And likewise if you are doing for the other number, that is 2025, I'm taking the bar representer number, that is the bars on 20 and 25. So here I have to consider only the first bar number, that is 20, and similarly I have to look out for a number whose square is less than or equal to 20. So clearly it's going to be 4 here because the square of 4 is 16 and it is less than or equal to 20. So therefore the first digit in our answer is 4. Now let's understand the step 6. In step 6, we are going to identify the second digit of our answer. And for that, we are going to take each number, that is, let's consider this 529. And we are going to consider only the last digit number, which is 9. And then we have to think of a number whose square ends with the digit 9. So from our previous understanding, we know that the square of 3, which is 9, this also ends with 9. And similarly, the square of 7, and that is 49, and this also ends with 9. So either it's going to be 3 or 7. And this means the second digit of our answer number is going to be either 3 or 7, which means the square root of 529 is either going to be 23 or 27. I will cover how to decide whether it is 23 or 27 when we do several problems on how to find the square root of numbers. Now, coming to this 2025 for the step 6. So, once again, we have to look out the last digit number, which is 5. And whenever the digit ends with 5, it's going to be only one number, that is going to be the second number, because 5 squared is 25 and this ends with 5. So clearly it is only 5 which whose square ends with 5. So immediately we can put 5 as the second digit of our number. So therefore the answer for this 2025, its square root is 45. Since the number ends with 5, we have easily identified the second digit. We'll now find the square root of the number 576 using this method. So let's do each step one by one. The first step, we need to identify whether it is an odd or even digit number. Clearly, 576 is an odd digit number because it has three digits. And so we can do the second step. In this step, we should place the bars. So we should start from the leftmost one digit and place a bar on top of it. And then we should place a bar on two digits consecutively like this. So we're done with the second step. So we don't have to do the third step because clearly it is an odd digit. So we can do the fourth step. In fourth step, we know that our answer is going to be only two digits. So we can write our answer with it is going to be only two digits, which means we can now do the fifth step. So here we are going to find the first digit of our answer by finding the square of the number that is less than or equal to the number in the first bar. So we will take the second step, what we have done in the second step. So we write the number with the bars on it. So we know that we have to look for a number which whose square is less than or equal to 5. So clearly we know that 2 square is 4 and it is less than 5. So our answer, the first digit of our answer is going to be 2, which we can put here. Now we can do the next step. That is, we need to find the last digit of our answer. And for that, we need to see how this last digit ends with. So if we take the number, the last digit ends with the 6. And from our table, we know that it could be either 4 or 6 because the square of 4 is 16, whose last digit is 16, and also the square of 6. This is 36, which means its last digit is also 6. So either it could be 4 or 6. So now we have to decide whether it is 4 or 6. And for this, we go to our answer. Clearly, it is the first digit of our answer is 2. So either the number could be 24 or it could be 26. But how do we decide whether it is 24 or 26? And for that, what we do is we take the first multiple of the 2 or 10 multiple of 2, which is closest to 2. So it is going to be 20. And then the next 10 multiple is 30, which means our number is either going to be closer to 20 or it's going to be closer to 30. So for that, we square these numbers and then compare it with our original number. So we know the square of 20 is going to be 400. It's easy because we just have to square this 2 and then add 2 digits. So it's going to be 400. And also similarly, the square of 30 is 900 because the square of 3 is 9 and then we add 2 digits. Now we compare this original number 576 and let's see it is closer to the 400 or is it closer to the 900. We can easily determine this by finding the difference. So the number 576 is about 176. That is the difference between 576 and 400 is 176. However, the difference between 900 and 576, and that is 324. So this means our number is going to be 24 because the square of 24 will be closer to 400 than the square of 26 that will be closer to 900. So clearly it's going to be 24. And so therefore we put the last digit or the second digit of our answer, which is 4. And so therefore our answer is 24. We will now determine the square root of another number, that is the square root of 1444 using this method. So let's follow the steps as we did for the previous problem. The first step, we will have to know whether it is an odd or even digit number. So the number 1444, clearly this has 4 digits, so it is an even digit number. So since it is an even digit number, we can skip step 2 and then we can go to step 3. So in step 3, we need to place the bar. So we take our number 1444 and since it is even, which we identified from the first step, we place one bar on the leftmost two digits and then bars on the two digits consecutively. Now let's do the step 4. In step 4, we know that our answer is going to be two digits because we are dealing with numbers which are less than 10,000. So we can write our answer that it has only two digits. Now let's do the step 5. In step 5, we are going to find the first digit of our answer. So let's take the number as we did from step 3, that is after having placed the bars. So here we have the first bar on 14, which means we have to find a perfect square number which is less than or equal to 14. So we know that 2 square is 4. This is less than 14. And likewise, 3 square is 9. This is also less than 14. But 4 square, and this is 16, and this is not less than 14. So we have to take the highest number, which is less than or equal to 14, and which means the first digit of our answer is 3. So we put 3 here. Now let's do step 6. In step 6, we have to find the second digit of our answer. And for that, we look at the last digit of our given number, and this is 4. And from the table, we know that the square of numbers which ends with either 2 or 8, they end with 4. So it's going to be either 2 or 8, which means our answer number is going to be either 32 or 38. But how do we decide whether it is 32 or 38? And for that, we take the closest 10 digit, which is 30, and then the closest, which is 40 here. And then we have to square these numbers. So square of these numbers will be, this will be 900, and the square of this number is going to be 1600, because the square of 4 is 16, and then we put two digits. Now we take our actual number and find which is closer. So our actual number is 1444, and we have to find the difference. So let's find the difference from these two numbers. So the difference of 900 with 1444, and that is 544, and the difference of 1444 from 1600, and that is 156. So clearly 156 is a small difference compared with the 544, which means the number whose square is going to be uh, closer to 1600 is 38. So therefore our answer is 38. That is, the second digit of our number is 8. So the square root of 1444 is 38. Now we will find the square root of this number 961 using this method. So in the first step, we know that this is a three-digit number. So it is an odd-digit number. And so in the second step, we have to place the bars. So let's take the number, which is 961. We should place the one bar on the leftmost one digit. So I'm placing one bar on the digit 9, and then I can place a bar on the two digits. We're done with the second step, which means we can skip the third one. Now our answer is two digits. So we will have the answer two digits. Now let's do the fifth step. In this, we are going to determine the first digit of our number. So we will take how we have placed the bars from the step 2. So this is how we have placed, and which means we need to find the square of a number which is closer or less than 9. So if we take 9, we know that the number 3, its square is 9, which is closer or equal to 9, which means the first digit of our answer is 3. So now let's do the sixth step. In this, we are going to determine the second digit of our answer, by finding a number whose square ends with the last digit. So let's take our original number, which is 961, and the last digit is 1. So looking at this table, which gives the square of how a number ends, we know that either 1 or 9, their squares are going to end with 1, which means our number, that is the answer number, is going to be either 31 or 39. Now we have to choose the correct one. And so for this, we take the first 10 multiple, which is closer to 31, which is 30. And then the next 10 multiple, which is 40. And then find their squares. The square of 30 is 900. And then the square of 40 is 1600. And then we place this number inside and find which is closer. So we have to find the difference of 900 and 961. That is clearly 61. And then the difference of 1600 with 961. And that is going to be 639. So this means this is the closest one. So therefore we have to choose the 31. And this is its square is going to be closer to 31 than the square of 39, which is very far away from the our number 961. And so therefore we can say that the second digit of our number is 31, and then the square root of the number 961 is 31.